whatever terminology you use in your very first phase. But however, as we go further, you will find a difference. Nowadays, no more the tool you are learning now is termed as BI. It's only BW as of now. BI is the terminology used for reporting tools.
So what's the difference between BW and BI?
Yeah, I'll come to it. I'll come to it one by one. So, what do you know about this tool? Till now, you might be thinking that BW and BI is one and the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is this tool for?
Is there a question for us?
Yeah.
Basically, BW pulls. Yeah, BW pulls data from an SAP system, right? ECC or whatever it is, and then we use that warehouse to create all the business intelligence, right? Like financial statement, balance sheet, those kind of stuff, right?
Sorry, just give me a second. I'll grab other headset. I think some problem with my headset. I cannot hear you properly.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, now I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
So you're saying something, right? So what is BW?
Yes. What I'm saying is that it's where we store data from SAP ECC, right? And use that data to run reports and stuff like that, right?
Right. Not only ECC system. Not only ECC system. From any system, you want to homogenize the data, cleanse the data, remove unwanted or junk data, and then store it in a proper structure for reporting is BW tool. Apart from SAP BW, you have MSBI, SAS, Informatica, and other different data warehouse tools. Or, in other words, SAP BW is a data warehouse tool provided by vendor SAP. There are different versions of this tool. Whenever we talk about different naming conventions like BW, BI, and so on, different versions of this tool came into picture. The very first major version is BIW. It was termed as BIW, stands for Business Information Warehouse. And the version is 2.x version, out of which 2.0 is the major version which stood in the market for a longer period of time, or you can call it as simply 2.x version. After 2.x, new version came into picture with the naming convention BW, 3.x, and out of 3.x, the major version which stood in the market for a longer period of time is 3.5. Stands for Business Warehouse. After 3.5 or 3.x version, SAP has released other versions, which is BI 7.0. Stands for Business Intelligence. Business Intelligence. Now after 7.0, other versions from 7.x, there is major naming change, or the data flow to get the data into BW is also changed. There is a major change from 3.x to 7.x, which we will discuss as we go further. But from 7.x, then we have 7.1, 7.2, and then again the naming convention has changed back to BW 7.3, and here it's an HANA enabled system. What is HANA enabled system? Why do we call 7.3 and that too from Service Pack 5, SP5, or you call it a Service Pack 5 in short? So what is HANA? Why do we require HANA? One is the very common terminology are known to people. Why do we require HANA? In simple, everyone say to increase performance. Fine, this is fine. To increase performance, we require HANA. But what exactly the HANA is? HANA is a database.
So is HANA similar to Oracle database?
Yes. It is similar to any of the databases like Oracle, SQL, and so on.
So why is it that clients are still using, still prefer Oracle database and not HANA? HANA is finding it tough to enter the market, right? I mean, they are not winning market share from Oracle, are they?
No. See, basically, you have different databases that are available in the market. Oracle is not only the one. You have SQL database, Sybase, and HANA. These are all different databases. Good question. Why market is not using HANA? Why everyone is not using HANA? Why everyone till today in the market is again still available in still using Oracle database or SQL database? Before I answer your question, can anyone tell me what is the difference between in-memory database and a traditional database? I call HANA as an in-memory database.
In-memory database. I don't have any idea on databases, so I can answer that.
Yeah. And Cordon, how about you?
Did you say in-memory database?
Yes.
No, I have no idea about that.
Okay. Where do you store data in a database? In a form of a tables?
Yes.
What type of tables do you have in Oracle or SQL? Row-based? Basically, when we talk about database in detail, data is stored in the tables of database, and these tables are usually row-based table. Let's say you get a record. Customer has purchased a product and quantity that he has purchased, let's say 10 is the quantity and it's in kg or lb. US terminology usually, other than US, if you look into Indian terminologies, they use kgs as the measurement, and US obviously lb. And price, let's say 100 USD. Now this is a single record that is stored in a single row, correct? In a table. But apart from this, you have something called column-based tables. Let's say customer ID A001, P001, quantity 10, LB 10 USD. And A001, the same customer, P002 product 20, LB 20 USD. How many records I should store in my table? Just exclude this. So how many records will be there in my table?
1, 2, 3, 12, right?
2 records. One is for A001 with product P001 and its quantity and amount. Second record is A001, P002, 20 LB and 20 USD. 2 records.
So 2 records. Hold on. So one record is what? A001, P001, and then A001 and P0. Okay. So those are the 2 records, right?
Yes.
You don't.
This is. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, explain it well. If I take A001, P001, that is 1 record, right?
Correct.
And the second record is the quantity, 10 pounds, right?
Right.
Okay, so how many records do we have for both of them?
We have both of them, right?
No, I don't understand.
See, in the table, how many records you will have? You have two records, one with A001, P001, and second one with A001, P002. Correct?
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Is it clear now?
Yes.
Gordon, is it clear with you?
Yeah, is it because we are storing this in rows? Is that why we have it in twos? We have two records.
Right. Right.
Okay.
But if you store as a column-based table, the repeated column values here, this is a column, this is one column, this is not a record, and this is other column, this is other column, LB is other column, and 10 and 20 is other column, USD is other column. The repeated values of your column values will be stored only once. In column based, it will store A001 as a single one. P001, 1020 will be again stored as multiple times. LB is stored again once, USD again once. So reducing your memory size, which is again HANA technology to compress the data, and it is termed as column storage.
Okay. So you are saying that Oracle store data in what do you call it, on row basis?
Yes, in traditional databases, every database stores data in the form of row tables.
Okay.
Yes, that's right.
HANA has a privilege to store data as per the requirement. You can store it in row based or column based as per the requirement. Usually, HANA by default, whatever table that you create in HANA will be a column based table only. The data is again compressed. Here it is aggregated level, which is usually required for your reporting, which will decrease your report execution time. In other words, increasing the performance of your query runtime. And in-memory database, coming to the next point apart from the architecture, next point, in-memory database. Let me open a Paint. You have a database and then an application layer. Between you have a processor or CPU. And then finally your presentation layer. When I execute a report, which is nothing but a presentation layer, what does it happens? What happens when I execute a report? Where do I execute my report? At the application layer? So just to make a session little interactive, I am asking questions, but that's fine. If you don't answer, I'll reply it back. Don't worry about it. Okay.
So where do we execute a report?
Yeah, application layer.
Application.
Report is nothing but a presentation, and we execute a report in an application layer, and then it gets processed in a processor. Correct?
Okay. So where's the processor here?
In the CPU?
Okay, so the triangle, right? The triangle here, right?
Right. So it will be executed in a processor. A request will be sent to a processor. Processor performs the necessary activities, and then it sends a request of data again
to the database. Okay.
To the database. Where exactly a database is stored?
Database
in your where exactly your data?
I don't know. As for me, I don't
hard
know.
drive.
Oh, hard drive. Okay. Yeah, you see that I don't know anything about technical stuff, but I'm going to learn.
Yeah. That's a spirit. That's a spirit. So usually, whatever information, let's take your general computer. When you execute something or whenever you apply a request, you want to open a file. You want to see the data. Let's say I have created this notepad. I have stored it. Where we are storing it in the computer? Hard drive?
Yep.
Right? Yep. When I double click on the application, which is Windows is my application, when I double click on the file, what happens? First of all, it sends a request to the processor. Processor again sends a request to the hard drive. It fetches the data from the hard drive based on the request that has been sent. It will look for the file in your hard drive, gets it into the processor, and from processor it will display in your application finally to your presentation layer.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay.
But here your databases, in traditional databases, whatever data that you are storing is available in hard drive. Okay. When I talk about in-memory database is purely about your RAM. Heard about RAM anytime?
Yeah, RAM. Yep. But explain it. What is? Yeah, this is RAM and this.
Right. So one of the costliest memory space that is available in the market is RAM. Now, if you store data directly in the RAM, processor gets data from hard drive to RAM to process it, and then sends it to your application and presentation layer. Okay. If I store all this data in the RAM, there will be a little fetch time reduced to get the data, correct?
Yeah.
That is what in-memory database. HANA is directly stored in RAM.
Oh, okay.
So the processor can directly access it. No need to fetch the data. Okay. Let's say you have opened a file. For the first time opening of a file, it took anyone having an exposure to reports?
Exposure to reports? No.
Yeah.
No.
Anytime have you executed any report in the real time, like financial reports or any other reports?
That was a long time ago. Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah. Cotton, how about you?
Say that again.
Have you executed any report? Like you are familiar with Oracle, right? So any tool have you come with? Crystal or Tableau?
Yeah, but specifically, what reports are you requesting? Because
any report, either it may be financial report or sales report or inventory report or organization structure report.
Not yet, because I'm not in the field now, so I've not really executed anything yet.
Okay. Let me make it more clear. Let's say I have around 60,000 records in the Excel sheet. Now I'm opening my Excel sheet. For the very first time, the data that is available in the Excel sheet, I am opening it for the very first time. So it took around 2 minutes for me. Why the reason behind when you open your Excel sheet for the very first time from the application layer, it goes to the processor, and processor fetches the data from hard drive to RAM and from RAM to application layer. But when you execute or when you open, you close the Excel sheet, you reopen it, it will be taking less than 2 minutes. Let's say it might get opened it in 30 seconds. Sometimes when you scroll down your Excel, you find hashes instead of values. It takes few fraction of seconds to display values in the cell. Correct? Anytime have you observed?
Yeah.
So that is what the gap between fetching the data from hard drive to RAM, RAM to application layer. This gap is minimized in HANA, so that data is directly accessed from RAM, and RAM is 10,000 times faster than the hard drive. So your HANA DB, which is getting stored in RAM, is also 10,000 times faster access to your report.
Oh, okay.
It will be executed in 30 seconds because second time the Excel data is readily available in your RAM. It will not take much time. Okay? Just like if you take in general out when we come out of terminology of database, anytime have you accessed YouTube? Hope you all have accessed YouTube, right?
Yep.
If you are opening a file for the first time, you get a buffer, loading, right?
Yep.
All right, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying with HANA, your data is stored in a RAM, right? As compared to database where we can store on a disk or tapes and things like that. And if you're saying with HANA, you're saving the data on the RAM, that it means yours looks more, it's not like a physical, it's more logical, right? Than
yes.
As compared to database where we have physical data.
Right. There are some technical issues that has been overcome in this case. When you restart your server or the computer, what happens? The data in RAM is a volatile memory.
Yeah, that's the memory.
Yes, it gets lost. So how do you store it? How do you preserve it? So this technical challenge has been overcome by SAP to store it as a constant memory. Instead of volatile memory, RAM is made a constant memory, and there are different segments. Each RAM has 2 TB of RAM size that is provided by currently available market vendors of SAP HANA, like IBM, Fujitsu are the major vendors of SAP HANA, where they provide hardware. So RAM in this case is non-volatile. Okay.
So depending from the advantages of HANA, do you think the traditional databases are going to also move from use from a hard drive and move to the RAM, so that they can also beat that kind of competition they're going to face from SAP HANA?
See, to implement HANA, it is not only the case of making your database moving to RAM, but also the hardware challenges need to be overcome here. If everyone are able to overcome the hardware challenges of non-volatile memory, yes, of course, they can move their database to HANA. Their database to RAM. Apart from that, if you observe, the other major crucial point here is HANA is column-based. That means the data is compressed. No aggregation further required here. Data is already compressed. If, for just a simple example, if you take 10 TB of data in traditional database, that can be stored in approximately 4 TB memory space of HANA. Reduces your memory space by 60%. This is what different advantages of HANA. Okay, so now BW in today's world is again HANA based system. HANA might be one of the source. So why we require HANA? I think we went in deep of HANA, which is not our course content, but still fine. Okay, why we require a database? I have BW, is it not sufficient? Why we require HANA? Without HANA, can I survive? Or without database? BW is just a front-end tool. Whenever you are storing data, data need to be stored in the database only. Do we have any other option to store data?
No.
Right, no, right? So it can be flat file, but that is very minimal. Nowadays, keeping in view the volume of data that is coming in, no one is going to store it in an Excel or flat file. Everyone requires a database. So BW is just a front-end tool. In a back-end, the major data sources before HANA came into picture. HANA is in the market only from 2012. Okay, and still enhancements, further performance issues, and all those are going further. New releases of HANA are coming in. It started with Service Pack 1, now we have Service Pack 10, HANA 1.0 version with Service Pack 10 we have in the market as of now. Not 10, in today's world you have 11 and 12 as well. 12, Service Pack 12 was released. Now tomorrow there is a chance of getting released to, HANA 2.0 version and other service packs as well. With the improvements are going on. Now my question was, why do we require a database? I can survive without HANA. BW was there before HANA was in the market, and even after HANA was there in the market. But why do we require a database? To store the information. So for BW, the backend database will be DB2. Previously, before HANA came into picture, it can be DB2 or Oracle. These two are major data sources which are utilized to store data using a BW tool. When HANA came into picture, HANA is developed by SAP, so it's SAP owned product. So it is preferring or forcing the market in today's world to use HANA. Okay. However, little expensive.
Okay. So then the question is that if you want to have SAP Business Warehouse and you don't want to buy HANA, you can still buy any Oracle database application, right? Or any other database. Okay. But then there are benefits for implementing the Business Warehouse on HANA, because what it is that you're able to process your data or your reports faster, right?
Right.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Without HANA, also you can have BW. Okay. Now, from where do we extract the data?
We extract the data from where do we extract the data? We talked about what do you call it? Did we talk about that? We just said I don't know.
Okay, not an issue. Data can come from any sources. Why I say data can come from any sources? Let's say some of the cases you have flat files. Some of the cases you have Oracle DB.
Okay.
Some of the cases you have ECC, which is the major source system.
Oh, okay. So the flat file could be Excel or could be what do you call it?
Notepad file, comma separated, anything which is .csv format. So it can be flat files or CSV or relational databases. Or it can be multi-dimensional. It can be SAP sources. When I say SAP ECC, it can be legacy systems.
Okay.
Legacy system. Now, each system or each source, when it comes to different sources, extracting data requires a connection from your BW system. Extracting of data requires a connection from your BW system to these sources.
Oh, okay.
There are predefined connection parameters provided by SAP, and all these connection parameters are not handled by BW consultant. Who else will handle all these connection parameters? When I say BW consultant, or when I say it's not our job to handle this connection parameters, there might be someone who need to handle this connection parameters, right?
Okay.
File interface for flat file systems. For relational database, BD Connect. Sorry, it's DB Connect. And for multi-dimensional, UD Connect. For an SAP systems, service APIs. For legacy systems, BAPI. Before NetWeaver 2004, the version NetWeaver 2004 is nothing but it's a complete integration package of your BW system with other systems. Before NetWeaver, before NetWeaver 2004, BAPI was not available. So for extracting data from legacy systems, SAP used it to suggest third-party tools like Oracle Financial Systems, which is a legacy application. Now, BAPI was not available, so SAP suggested third-party tools like Informatica and so on. Okay. Now, BAPI came into picture from 2004, and this is purely handled by ABAP.
So hold on. So let's say for business warehouse, right? Business warehouse, to connect to the files, right? There should be sort of a connector, right? And you are saying that these are the connectors, like for CVS is file interface, The legacy system, which legacy system are you talking about? So you are talking about, let's say, if a company is now on R3, the legacy system will be, let's say, R2, right? Right? In that case, do they also have to move the data from R2 to R3?
R2 to R3 may not be required, but from R2 to BW can be done using an ABAP code. Or nowadays, no one is using BAPI so far. Still, we have a new ETL tool called BODS.
What does that mean? BODS is what? Oh, business object.
Previously, it is termed as BOXI. When R2 systems were there, or XI systems were there. Okay. Oracle Financial System, which is a custom application, custom database designed as per the requirement of the particular user.
Okay.
So custom applications fall under legacy systems. Okay. Clear?
Yep, it's clear.
Okay. Now, I say BAPI is handled by an ABAP, but rest of the connection parameters, who will handle? Basis? Basis is an admin team. If you want to execute or open a screen of SAP in the BW system or in ECC system, you need to have a credentials, right? These credentials are created by SAP Basis team. They are responsible for installing. Whenever you are starting a project with an SAP, or organization is starting a project with an SAP, the very first guy that comes into picture is Basis. He is an installer. He is responsible for installing the software, providing authorizations and rights to the users, creating users, credentials, and all those, creating connections, including ECC or CRM or SRM of SAP, and the business objects of SAP, HANA, everything will be Basis responsibility.
Okay.
Okay. Now the connections are available. How do we extract data from different sources? Okay. to extract data from different sources, to reduce the load on relational database. To reduce the load on relational database, what do? We extract the junk data as it is to the very first layer in BW called data source.
Come again.
Data source is the very first layer in BW system. Data source is the very first layer in BW system where we extract raw data as it is into the very first layer called data source. In other words, it is also termed as PSA, stands for staging, persistent staging area, which is a temporary storage to fetch all data as it is from your source system to BW system first layer. Here on this layer we will not be able to build our reports. This is junk data. No reportings can be done on this layer.
So the first, the data source here is junk, right?
Right. It's a junk data as it is.
Okay.
Raw data. Don't call it as junk data, but we call it as raw data.
Raw data, okay.
Is it feasible to build a report on top of raw data?
No, you have to clean the data, right?
Right. So next level we have info providers. So before we go with the reports, we have next level called info providers. And we have to load only cleansed and homogenized data from this data source to the info providers, and here we apply our business logics termed as transformations. Business logics like what data need to be available, what is not, what is junk data, what need to be removed, and what is your report requirement, so that you aggregate the data and store it as per the report requirement in the info provider. We have different info providers. The very first one is info object. What is an info object? It's the smallest info provider. Info object is the smallest info provider available in BW system. Now, when we are talking about homogenizing and cleansing of data, we need to understand how data is classified, or how many categories we can classify the data. Gordon, this is a question for you. So, do you know how do we classify a data into different categories?
Like different, what do you mean by classify? Okay, go ahead, give me an example.
Right, let's say I have two records. One is customer and his name, address, phone number, and social security number, and so on. So complete personal details of customer.
Yeah.
Now the other record, the same customer made a transaction for a product, quantity, amount. So how do we classify these? This is two different types of data.
I have no idea.
Heard about any time master data and transaction data?
Yep, master data. I know master data and transaction data. So the master data will be the first one. Customer
exactly.
Name, that's the master data.
Correct. So the transaction data will be the second one.
Yes.
Data which do not change very frequently, termed as master data. How frequently you change your name, address, phone number, social security number, and so on. But this data, like the product purchased by the customer, might be same, but the quantity and amount will increase as the customer is making the other transaction. Correct?
Yep.
So the record is going continuous change, termed as transaction data, which captures your day-to-day transactions, in other words, in simple words. Now, when we talk about info providers in BW system, info object is specifically used to store master data. Specifically used to store.
So, quick question. So when you pull in the data from these sources of files, right? These sources of files, it comes in as the first layer of the file. What we use for the transformation, is it somebody writing the code, or the BW consultant is supposed to write the code for the transformation?
It's a mapping. See, info provider also contains a fields. Okay. Data source layer also contains a fields.
Okay.
So which field data need to be loaded in the which field of your info provider is nothing but a transformation.
Oh, okay.
It's a mapping.
It's a mapping. Okay. Quick, before you go on, how many years must somebody get trained to be a very good BWBI consultant?
See, basically we have here three layers. First layer is data source. Second one is staging layer. Here DSO comes into picture, other info provider, which can also be used for reporting. And the next layer is info cube, which is again other info provider for an aggregated data. Depending upon report requirement, number of layers, and depending upon your data type, whether it is financial data or logistics data, the number of layers increases. But in simple, you have only two layers. First is your source system, three layers, sorry. First is your source system, next layer is data source, and the next layer is your info provider.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
however, you can.
Yeah, what I want to know is does this represent the architecture of HANA? Is that what you're trying to do?
No, this is the architecture of BW.
Oh, BW, okay.
Right. This is not the architecture of HANA. HANA architecture is totally different here.
Okay.
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 Now the next info provider is DSO. In 3.x version, we talked about different versions, right? So 3.x is the old version. In 3.x, DSO term is termed as ODS, stands for Operational Data Store. DSO, Data Store Object. It is used to store again transaction data and detailed level. And what is detailed level data? What is aggregated data?
So basically, if you have, let's say for financial data, right? You sell anything that comes in is what? The sales revenue. It comes in as the sales revenue, right? The sales number, right? But if you want to, let's say, get all the sales for a division, right? You have to aggregate the individual sales for each department within the division before you can get the aggregated sales number, right?
Correct. High level data. That is, you're adding all your sales numbers to form a less number of records. It can be based on division, or it can be based on a product of in a particular division, or it can be based on customer. Okay, high level data. So detailed level data is nothing but you want to see each and every transaction, which is not a good practice for analytics, right?
No, come again.
So here, detailed level data is nothing but your individual record you want to see, whatever transactions that has been made. If you take a stores of Walmart, as of in today's world, Walmart is one of the biggest stores. If I want to analyze Whether I want to open a new store, or I want to see when to purchase a new inventory, or do I need to increase the stock, I want to see the sales, right? But not at the detailed level. I don't want to see all the transactions from morning 9 a.m. the store opened till today. I don't want to see all transactions one by one. Can I analyze what is the total sale that has been made at the end of the report execution time? No, right? Any analytics. I require, if I want to purchase a new inventory, I want to see what is the total sale of the product that has been made in a particular period. But I don't want to see how many times the product has been sold and under which quantity. Correct?
Yep.
For decision making. So DSO, in some cases, if you require detailed level data, you can use DSO as a info provider. And aggregated data, which is nothing but high level data, adding up all your key figures based on the requirement, is termed as info provider. Sorry, info queue. Info queue, which is used to store again transaction data, but aggregated level. Okay.
So at which level do we keep the individual data?
DSO. See, you can have info provider level only. DSO is an info provider.
Okay.
Okay, at this level only. And again, on top of this, you will have reports, and BW is specifically for analytical reports. Whatever data that is available in these sources, I'm building a report on top of those data only, correct? But I am homogenizing and cleansing data. Can I build this report directly here on these source systems?
No, because that's unclaimed data, right?
Yeah, but still you can build a report, right?
But then the report would not be, I mean, it will be a very dirty report.
More time. Probably it might be taking more time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So basically what you're saying is that you can build a report on the source data, and then you have to do a lot of filtering, right?
Exactly. Yes. And when you build a report directly on the source system, your source system directly undergoes your complex business logics that you are implementing at the transformation level. When your source undergoes lots of business logics for executing a report, it slows down your source system. And all the source systems are majorly termed as OLTP systems.
It's what?
TP.
Okay. OLTP. What does that mean? OLTP. Online transaction.
Online transaction process.
So basically, OLTP is where you run your reports from your source system, right?
OLTP is itself a source system.
Or is it?
Let's say, yeah. Let me give an example of OLTP systems. Let's say you want to open an account. You go to a bank, give your personal details, whatever required. You fill a form, give your personal details. You enter those information into the system, and it is stored in one of the DB. Right? It can be ECC system if he is using SAP or CRM, then SAP systems, or multidimensional or Oracle. Front-end entering might be .NET or any other, but finally he is storing in the database. Correct?
Yep.
Which captures your day-to-day transactions is termed as OLTP system. Okay. If I keep my OLTP system busy with report execution, what happens? Instead of opening an account in 5 minutes, it will take you 30 minutes. You click save your details and it keeps on executing because the process is busy with the other report execution.
Yeah.
Okay. So will you refer your friend to open a new account at the same bank?
No.
No, right? So it is loss of customers. So to make the optimal performance of OLTP systems or front-end systems, even if you see in the Walmart, your billing, whatever billing that has been done in front of you is again captured by the OLTP system only. Okay. So here also we need to minimize the billing time to serve the next available customer so that it doesn't spoil the reputation of the company.
Oh, okay.
Okay. To avoid that situations, we have our reports to be built on top of OLAP system. Specifically for reports. BW is one of the OLAP system. MSBI is one of the OLAP system. SAS is again other OLAP system. Like this, in the market we have a different OLAP system. And the reporting tool that is available in BW is BEX. BEX is the reporting tool available in BW, stands for Business Explorer. Okay, this is ruled out. You cannot build a report directly on the source system, which will impact your front-end services. In other words, loss of your clients. Okay.
So that's the reason why you cannot build on flat what do you call source files, right?
Right. We do not build reports on top of source systems or OLTP systems.
Okay, makes sense.
It's not only CSV, it can be relational DB of your OLTP system, multidimensional DB of your OLTP, ECC of your OLTP.
Okay.
Right. Example for relational DB?
Example of what?
Relational DB, relational database.
Relational database. This thing, what do you call it? Access, right?
Sorry?
Access database, right? It's a
yes, MS Access. MS Access. Multidimensional?
Multidimensional S-base, right?
Yes. Hyperions.
Hyperion, yeah.
ECC, which is nothing but an SAP source system.
SAP source system. Oh, ECC is also
it's not a database. It's not a database, but it's a source system. One of the source systems.
One of the source systems. Okay.
Legacy systems like Oracle Financial DB.
Okay.
Okay. These are different levels or where we come across with different terminologies, and again we have some more terminologies that we're gonna learn on our day-to-day sessions like DTP, data transfer process, and so on, which we can see in upcoming sessions. And for today,
today I think you've given us too much. Okay, so then the question, how many sessions will we take to complete this? And can you give us the class, what do you call it? Can you give us the what do you call it? All the subjects we'll cover. So basically like the profile of all the topics we'll cover.
Sure. In our course content, we will go with first level of extraction from flat files. We extract data from flat files and see how to model it in BW and build a report on top of it. Then the major source system is ECC. If you come across 90 clients, 100 clients, 90% of the or 95% of the clients will be using ECC as a source system whenever they have BW as a source.
Okay.
We will cover these two. Relational DB and multidimensional DB is out of content here again because we do not have server access in this case.
Okay.
But still, I'll show you how the connection parameters are available so that you can understand it, if at all, in case it comes into your picture.
Mm-hmm.
And after course, we can also keep in touch with my email ID, where if you have any questions or queries, you can drop an email so that I'll be answering your questions.
Okay. And how many hours of class do we need to take to complete this?
Usually it takes, for a non-technical person, it takes 30 to 35 hours.
Okay.
Some cases it is again 40 hours as well. But if anyone like Cordon, they are familiar with the databases, terminologies and naming conventions, it takes around 25 hours.
Okay. All right. I want to tell you that if we do the class, Thursday should be out because I'm a traveling consultant, right? So every Thursday, I'm in air, right? So if we do the class, Thursday and Sunday should be out, but the rest of the days we can do it. So I think we would want to continue. So we'll talk to the vendor and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. And anything else that you want to understand in today's session?